This is Novel Spirits.
Boom, boom, boom. There we are.
Hey, we're
right.
back.
We're
I'm
back.
back, everybody. I'm back.
The OG returns. So
Welcome back.
yeah,
Thanks.
I survived to the second episode.
I
Nice.
know, right? You survived D&D yesterday for an episode today.
I'm injecting my stim for the episode. Already jumping in with the.
I'm on my
Juice
second
it up.
stem.
Juice it up. Juice it up.
I
I
didn't
have
tell you guys
psychosis, cyberpsychosis.
what I put with my liquor of choice, but this is just a Red Bull vodka. But I picked the green one, so I figured that was like the right color for it.
Yeah, for this book.
Yeah,
For
that's a good
CyberPunk.
one.
So that's mine. I'm just gonna start off the top with it.
Go for it.
Just wanted to make my dumb stem joke before anybody else got to it.
All right, so welcome back, everybody, to Novel Spirits, where if it can be read, it can be reviewed with a fancy spirit at hand. Today, Michael Lopez here from 008 Studios. With me today, I have
Jacob. I'm Jacob Cortez, and I'm just joining in.
and we have an OG returning.
Oh, do you want me to say my name? I'm Higgins. I was just let Snoop say my name, and then I'd be, hey, that's me. But this is new times.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
say
new
my
times,
name.
man. It's new times. Snoop is, still lingering around, but he's not here today. He actually had to take a rain check because he really wanted to do this CyberPunk issue, but he had a day job shoot on the same day, so he couldn't make it. So rain check for next time. But yeah, welcome to Novel Spirits again. We have a full cast today, and as you might have guessed with our pre-intro and our talk now, our book of the month is CyberPunk. Which CyberPunk? Trauma Team. Yep, we have two people who came prepared. Jacob.
I'm online.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah,
I just like putting stuff on bookshelves.
exactly. I have a bookshelf behind me. I'm gonna put it on the red section.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so before we actually jump into it, though, we do have some house cleaning items and some stuff that we may have covered in the last episode and some stuff that we have to cover today. But first and foremost, this is 008 Studios at its finest. I don't think this podcast is sponsored by 008 Studios anymore. It really just is. So if you guys know anybody who is looking to sponsor a podcast, look us
I
up.
can say Smirnoff 3 times if that'd help.
There we go. Click your heels while you're at it. No, so if you haven't checked us out already, go ahead and do so. We got books. We have our first ever comic. We have a lot of games that are in progress, including one that our dearest Jacob is working on right now. And yeah, we have this awesome podcast on there. And actually, surprise for y'all, our debut comic is actually available on print right now, and I'll be able to
nice.
Sweet.
post the link on the description along with the studio's link, so whoever's listening or watching can actually take a peek at it. The electronic version is only $1, so
I have it digitally already, but
yeah.
I'll
It's
have to
super
get it
cool.
in person.
Yeah, we have plenty of stuff. Check us out. The other thing that I wanted to mention was that in our last episode, we were called out by the actual owners of 008 Studios, and that is all of our misses. So shout out to Aaron Lopez. Shout out to, you guys want to give shout outs?
Yeah, I'm gonna shout out Zoe, or as Michael calls her, Chewy. Yeah, that's my shout out.
And then Bethany B, Bessie, any other affectionate names for her.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Higgins, congratulations. How is
Oh
Mary?
yeah. I had a ring. It's about the same. That's what I've been telling everybody. We already kind of did the whole we went into the living together and things, so it was pretty not too many transitions.
Such a hard question to answer.
Yeah.
Well,
We all know how it is.
yeah. Well, the good thing is that you guys, had a bomb-ass wedding, excuse my French. When we were talking earlier about drinks, I was saying that I basically had Johnny Silverhands the entire wedding, which is basically just rum old fashions. It was a grand old time. So, again, congratulations, Higgins, and let me know when Bessie wants to join in on another episode.
To hop on. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I'm sure we could.
Yeah. For those that are just joining in that do not know how this works, typically, with the Comixology Club, you picked a book of the month and you reviewed it. With the Novel Spirits, it's the same spirit. It's the same kind of theme, but the idea is that one of us will select a book during the month and the other two will give the review in terms of drinks. So again, you guys have already kind of heard what we're drinking, but just to highlight again, I'm drinking my rum the old-fashioned way, which is nice and clean, in spirit of Johnny Silverhand from the Cyberpunk universe.
Yeah, I'm having the David Martinez. I'm a huge fan of the anime, and when I saw that, I had to drink it. And it's also simple. It's just some vodka and some Coke or just soda. And shout out to Michael for my Japanese vodka that he got me for my birthday or Christmas, one or the other. But yeah, that's my drink.
Awesome.
Mine's just a Red Bull vodka with the green flavor, which is apparently, I don't know what a Karuba is, but it also has elderflower in it.
Okay.
It tastes pretty yummy.
Yeah, all
I'm
these
not mad
drinks,
at it.
all these drinks should be themed from the bar from the Cyberpunk game, which you'll hear kind of see us kind of bridge into it because the Cyberpunk universe is something that's kind of near and dear to me because one, the genre is barely tapped, and when it is, it's usually done wrong. Or not wrong, but just not to the point where it just really captures the two games that really stand out to me is Deus Ex, which I know I'm butchering the name, and then of course Cyberpunk. There's the game, there's the anime, like Jacob said, and now we have one of these books, which there's plenty of. But Trauma Team is definitely going to be a recommendation on mine. So since I brought this, I'm going to introduce it. So again, Cyberpunk 2077 Trauma Team by Cullen Bunn, Miguel. Oh God, names. Valderrama, Jason Wordie, and Frank. Ooh boy,
I think it's just
yeah.
Cvetkovic or something like that.
Thank you. So yeah, fun fact: I actually reached out to Cullen Bunn. I'm not gonna say that he responded because he didn't, but Cullen, if you ever watch this, please respond. And yeah, it's a very interesting story. If you've played the game, you were introduced to Trauma Team. They're the medical evac, the privatized medical evac that really just deal with evacuating anybody who has a membership. The job always comes first, and this is the story of one of the Trauma Team members. I believe her name is Nadia.
Nadia.
There we
Yeah.
go. Who, as always, my choice of adjectives when I do these reviews is our resident badass. The comic starts off with showing Nadia as the sole survivor of a evac gone wrong, which if you watch or if you read the book itself, it's very graphic. She is a member of the Trauma Team with a lot of trauma, no pun intended. So the first scene, just sole survivor. She loses her entire squad. And then it's basically the briefing that happened afterwards that they need to make sure that she is cleared for duty for her next evac or her next mission. And this story starts jumping into morality versus duty. But what did you guys think of the start? I'm very curious to see or hear specifically, art and story in line, but anything that pops into mind or anything that you saw that may link to the other mediums.
Yeah, so I'll say if you're like me, you watch the anime. I did not like the Trauma Team at all because they don't help his mom. Spoiler if you haven't seen it, but they don't help Devi's mom. And the book does a good job of making you see that these are also people doing their job. So it kind of shifted my view of the whole Trauma Team in general. So that was a really cool aspect of the book.
Looked at any of the Cyberpunk stuff. I know that Keanu Reeves is a part of it. I know there is an anime, but now this book is the first thing I've actually done in there. I mean, I know the gist of Cyberpunk, like Blade Runner, that sort of style, futuristic, dark. This is a little more neon than I think I normally used to. But I like the intro where it's just her basically getting a psych eval right before being pumped out.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're like, she clearly isn't ready to do this, but they're like, well, she's already trained. We don't got to spend any more money on her. We might as well pump her out there.
Yeah, and then she also ended up saying the right things.
Yeah.
When she was asked the questions, yeah, I'm ready to do good for the company. That's all they care about. It's capitalism.
Yeah, toting the company line.
Exactly.
All that jazz.
By the way, Higgins, I'm glad you corrected me on something because I said that the cyberpunk niche, there's only two things that stand out. No, Blade Runner. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, it's
That's
okay. Blade Runner, like while good, is like it's a real slow burn. So like
yeah.
it's
I'm
okay to
sure
miss
there's
it.
I'm sure there's plenty of other titles that have stood out, but as far as this read, I think the only two that came out is just the ones where the blades come out of the arms. Really.
Yeah,
Speaking of which, so the blades that come out of the arms, there is one character specifically. I don't think he's ever named. I don't know if you guys call it a name or not. But he is basically a borderline cyber psycho. He is the reason why Nadia's team is dead. Uh,
he's
and
basically just a mercenary, is
yeah,
what it seems like.
Yeah.
straight up mercenary.
Hired killer.
Yeah, and actually, now that I think about it, I think he has like a code name or a call sign or something like that. And I just forget what it is now. But after Nadia is given the green light to, I guess, to go for her next mission, um, she's given a new team and sent out. She obviously has these signs of mental trauma already kind of stitched. Like Higgins, you already said that obviously from what you're seeing that these flashbacks that she is not ready. She just kind of
Oh
said,
yeah, some
yeah, she just kind of said,
PTSD flashbacks
yeah,
that
yeah,
are nice and red, so I knew that they were flashbacks.
yeah. She didn't really have that mental green light for anybody who read, but the company sent her out anyway. New team, they treat her like a greenhorn when she's not. She makes it known that she's not a greenhorn, and they sent out to the next mission. Which again, morality versus duty. Guess who they're trying to rescue?
Yeah, they get in there and like I guess like the initial part, I mean, they have to like fight their way to get to this person who she doesn't know who it is, and
Yeah,
they're like getting shot at by all these other people, and you're like, you don't want to save this guy. He's a terrible person too. And they're like, we don't care about that. This is just a job.
yeah,
Yeah.
So get out of her way or you're gonna die too.
yeah,
Yeah, and she's freezing up the whole way in, having those flashbacks, and they constantly telling her, "Hey, if you don't straighten out, we're all gonna die here."
yeah. But I think the cards are stacked against them from the very beginning. They are going to rescue the same individual that killed her team. Turns out that he does have a platinum membership with the Trauma Team, so that's why I
It sounded
said,
like the guy that hired him had like a platinum membership for the trauma team. Is
was
like
that
what I gathered.
was that
Like
ever
whoever
revealed?
hired him to kill,
Yeah.
we don't know who it is, but whoever hired him to kill, I guess like put him on their package or something like that.
Okay.
Because I just assumed that like that guy probably like just a down in the gutter guy that needed money and he was good
Yeah.
at killing.
Yeah, that's a good because I'm like, how does this guy afford the platinum package in the first place?
Yeah, either he's a really good mercenary, or I think Higgins, you're onto something there. Sadly, though, I don't think that's ever revealed. How twisted would it be if it was the same company? So
Yeah.
no, but it is revealed that Nadia has to rescue, and then she juggles basically the entire time that they're doing the evac, morality versus duty. So I wanted to prompt a question to you, along with what you thought of the scenes. But if you were given the same choice, what would you guys do?
I mean like a lot of the early stuff with her is like her new team, one of her guys gets like shot and she's like, "Well, I'm gonna worry about this guy first before I worry about this terrible, terrible person." And it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, for sure. The other part of it is like, sure, you don't want to like save this guy, but also at this point, it's just like you're just gotta do this to get out of the building at this point.
yeah,
Like full on like Judge Dredd, Judge Dredd style. It felt a lot like the Dredd movie with what's the boys guy? I don't remember his name.
uh,
Butcher's actor,
Carl
Carl
Urban.
Urban.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
Carl
yeah, I
Urban, if
think
you're watching.
yeah, yeah, hook us up. But I think the easy answer to say is like obviously I'm not gonna side with this guy, but I feel like going through all that stuff, she's trying to keep her job. At
Yeah,
least for the longest part of this book, she's like, this job's the only thing that is keeping me going at this point.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would be in her position because I'm not gonna rush back to my job. But if I was to get sent back out, yeah, definitely. I don't think I would help him. I mean, how do you help somebody like that just killed your whole team? So yeah, that's a tough one, and they do a good job of showing how she struggles with it.
To add to the mix, it is also revealed that one of the members of her previous team was a lover. I
Yeah,
don't know if it was a boyfriend or husband or whatever the case may be, but there's a scene or a back or
they
just
had
a
a
scenario.
relationship. Yeah,
Exactly, they had a relationship. There was a kind of a flashback where you saw them in the act basically, and then talking about the same exact question, like what would you do if it was me or them?
in the act of what, Michael? I don't know.
The
They were just
sexual,
sleeping, right?
no, the sexuals, just straight up the sexuals.
Oh,
Yeah, again, this book is very graphic. It didn't show anything, too wild with that scene, but it was very obvious that this
yeah.
was an adult, relationship. No, so that is thrown into the mix. So, I mean, Jacob, to your point, how do you help somebody like that? If you recognize them, that is something, I guess, to me, tremendous that you kind of throw onto the weight already of like, okay, you know, morality versus duty and the PTSD. But again, to Higgins, your point, you have no choice. Either you help or you don't get out. What I found kind of interesting was that, I guess, just because I was military, Nadia is a traditional combat medic, so she again tries helping the first casualty. The trauma team is, we have our target, you get the target
One
out,
person. Yeah.
yeah, no matter what. That's somebody drops next to you, you leave them and you keep going towards the mission. So, I mean, it was just kind of wild seeing the two different mentalities. They're just yelling at her constantly, like, get your shit together while she's treating one of them. Nadia also has a soft side, because during the evac, at some point, she tries giving medicine to a sick child, and they had a problem with that too. So,
Yeah, they like holed up in a room for a little bit, and there's just a kid in there, and it's like I don't know why these guys are yelling at her so much. It's like it took her a matter of 30 seconds to pull out some pills and hand them to this girl, and that was just like that is they were like, we do not have time for this.
yeah. So, I guess to them, well, I guess it makes sense. Every second counted.
And I'm sure like they're also like, we can't afford to just give medicine to whoever's not buying it.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
not even on, they didn't even subscribe to the lowest plan. Why are we giving them medicine?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not like the guy that they're rescuing needed the medicine because he was just shot, so he didn't need the antibiotics.
Yeah.
Dude, that guy was like bleeding out basically. He was so fucked up. I mean, he was probably the most level headed guy there, which really made it hard to hate him because
Mhm.
you know what he did to Nadia, but at the same time, when Nadia gave the medicine to the kid, he was all about that.
Yeah, he's fun to watch,
Yeah.
but obviously terrible. I mean, he's basically running on like meth for the entire back half of the book. Or
That's
like
true.
PCP. He was probably closer to like Angel Dust or something like that, where he just got like drug strength.
Higgins, you're saying a lot of names that I don't recognize. Is this double life that you're living?
No, I've never done any of those things.
Yeah, at one point, the trauma team is dropping like flies because there's so many, enemies, and they decided just to juice him up. They give him like some sort of stim, and he goes bananas and just starts killing everybody.
Yeah,
Um,
It was a
and
really
to
good
be
time.
honest, if I pay for the platinum membership and I have to assist in my own evac like that, where basically I'm evacing the evacers, I'm gonna be pretty pissed. I'm gonna want a refund or something.
I think he like had a really fun time doing it though,
Yeah,
I think
because
so.
he didn't like those guys either. He was just like, I just can't take on 100 dudes.
Yeah,
yeah.
I can maybe take on like 5 at a time.
I think it was more like I've already taken out 100 dudes. I really don't want to do 100 more.
100.
um, it kind of brings up an interesting point of view though. So in the cyberpunk games, and I guess in the anime, you can really pinpoint a main character, right? To me, it was kind of a weird dynamic because it almost seemed like this guy was really the main character. He's the one that could really kill whoever he wanted. In the game, you're over there, you can, kill whoever you want, reload,
That's the
speed.
guy you make in the character creator for sure.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And then Nadia is just an NPC who has morals.
Yeah.
That's what it seemed like to me. What'd you guys think of the scene when he goes berserk with the stems? This is I
Oh, it was
guess
so
a,
cool.
a perfect,
That's real
I
good
guess,
action stuff.
yeah. But I think it's a perfect scene to really kind of just pinpoint the art style. I don't know. I don't really know how to describe art except it's artful and nice, but it really fits the cyberpunk vibe. I mean, even if this book didn't have a title, if I were to look at this, I would recognize this is Cyberpunk.
Well, you can see this like the robot enhancements on the people,
Yeah.
like the neon lights in the city and that sort of stuff. That all like fits that theme in my head. If you showed, like you said, if you showed it to someone, it's if you know what cyberpunk is as a genre, you're probably like, oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's just
Absolutely.
always a little grittier than a lot of other stuff too.
Yeah.
I guess that's the punk.
The punk.
Yeah, and something about a character using blades like that also seems very cyberpunky to me. In a world where everyone has really big guns inside their bodies, and he's still killing people like that.
It's like Halo, like the sword's always better than the
Yeah.
guns.
Don't say that. You'll open up a can of worms in the comments section. What's better, the shotgun or the energy sword? No, but I mean, to my point earlier, it's always fun watching the blade come out of the hands.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna hop back to something different. I was
Go
gonna
for it.
say we were talking about like the emotional aspect of her and like the team, and that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
probably my like only like real big gripe with the book
Okay.
is that I think it would have done like the book some service to like do a like add of like a good 5 to 10 more pages where we actually see her with the team, how their relationship starts, the parts we did get with the relationship, just because I mean they told me there was a connection, but they didn't show me there was a connection,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it goes
and
back
that
to
makes
that.
the PTSD stuff like not quite hit as hard like when I saw it.
Yeah.
It's like oh yeah, she's got trauma, but I don't know how close these people were to her
Yeah.
specifically.
It goes back
And
to
that's the only thing I could have thought.
the whole tell or is it show don't tell when you're writing? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I think they could have told a bit more than they showed. I could think they could have told a bit more. I think
I think that's
it's the
vice versa.
opposite of what we yeah, it's vice versa, but I think they could have told us and shown us more. Just
Yeah, yeah.
more
So I think the only
is the
thing that
only
we got
thing.
during the brief was like, oh yeah, we were close. And that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So if I could have got that, then I could have been like a little more like even more cool with the way that she ended stuff, which we can talk about that a little later if you want, but the way the book ended,
Yeah.
I'm just
So
gonna say it because there's spoilers on this show. Basically, the way it ended is that she killed this guy because of her morality reasons, knowing full well as soon as she killed this guy, she was going to get shot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And we
uh,
didn't get to see. There's a lot of stuff going through someone's head where they're just like, yeah, I may only get this one shot, but it's worth it.
yeah. So to that point, I think that the details that need to be filled in, and I'm gonna hop on what you just said. The PTSD did not hit as heavy as like the whole like, do I help this guy because he killed everybody or not? Until the very end. So they got out of the building. Nadia once again is the sole survivor. She's again the resident badass, right? The rescuee and Nadia are just hand in hand helping each other run across whatever last stretch they have
Oh, but two of the torture team made it out of the building.
before they
We
die.
didn't say that.
Yeah.
No, before the rescuer snapped his neck to help her out.
Right. Oh,
Because
that's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
because
Yeah.
he was gonna basically like sell her out to the company and say she can't do this job anymore, and the guy just like immediately snaps his neck and he's like, "All right, there's my favor to you now.
Yep, that's true. That's true. I forgot about
Are
that.
we
And
cool now?"
again, that kind of like it saved her ass. So it's kind of again, I know
Just
that.
that fast.
Yeah, I know he just killed somebody, but it's kind of hard to hate him after him trying to do something nice for Nadia. But they're running out, and then the rescue trauma team, the backup, shows up, and that's when the PTSD really hit because she starts remembering all the stuff and. She points a gun at the rescuee, this mercenary, who is on death's door, and the trauma team is the one that points the guns at her. It's not the people who are chasing her. So
Yeah.
again,
What? They like we keep saying, they just keep making you want to like this like guy that you should hate, and he's just like, yeah, go ahead and do it. Like it's fine.
yep,
It's like I get it. I lived my life good.
pretty much no
It's
regrets.
like you earned this one.
So I just killed someone for you. I thought we were even, but I guess we were wrong. That's fine. No regrets.
Yeah.
So,
But now it was a good little jump into Cyberpunk for me though.
oh, absolutely. I was telling Jacob after reading it, I felt like starting up another campaign on
Oh
the
yeah.
Cyberpunk game.
And the bad guy, or I don't know if he's really the bad guy, but he just feels so much like what I imagine Cyberpunk is. Like killing without remorse. Human life is really not that important in this world.
Just
And
upgrade me.
yeah, exactly. Like it's all, everyone is there for themselves. So when you have a character like Nadia who actually cared about somebody else, it's like, you kind of do feel more drawn to them. And I started feeling bad for her. But I agree with what you said about the PTSD not hitting very hard, because I was getting kind of frustrated with her freezing up in the middle of those fights, because they didn't spend a lot of time showing why she would be so, why she would freeze up like that.
Well, yeah, fine.
You okay there,
But,
Higgins? There we go.
yeah. Yeah, I was just my drink's up on my bedpost.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
I
No,
have to turn around.
it was one of those things where it's like, there's action, there's action, there's action, then there's a brief pause of her contemplating, but there's no showing why the contemplating actually was important until the very end. They start dropping bits and pieces, like, at first it was just a team, then it was a team, oh, and inside the team there's a lover. And then afterwards, like, oh, well, this conversation happened here. And you don't get the full picture or the full impact until that very end, until the very end, which, by the way, is a cliffhanger. We probably already know what happens. We can assume. But she does pull the trigger, and there is a bang, but you don't know where the bang came from, whether it was Nadia killing the guy, or the trauma team killing Nadia,
But
or somebody
look
else.
at the very very last frame.
Uh-huh.
In the middle of all of the bullets, there's one bullet that's very much not like an assault rifle round. You got a
Uh-huh.
pistol round that got expended there, right in the dead center.
Okay.
You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Look at you doing your ballistic auditing.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I looked at it and I was like, I gotta remember to say that.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So I think everybody got their shots in, is what it seems like.
I
Yeah.
assumed from the frame before, that very last frame where it's very blurry, that's like them both being blown away essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good catch.
Okay. Yeah, no, I have to applaud you on that one, man. That was a great catch. But that also speaks to the amount of detail in the art, because I mean, people just draw bullets. There is a singular
Yeah, a
9 to
single
10 bullet.
pistol round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is a great catch. Now, if you also want to get technical, the cover, or the kind of promotional art after those scenes, since you have the book Higgins, shows, a blade, and then Nadia pointing at the blade, and then,
Oh, yeah.
Nadia alone
Oh,
on the
yeah.
street. So again, I would still consider it a cliffhanger.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Potentially.
So maybe Nadia's floating around there, but I guarantee she's not getting hired back. So
Oh, yeah. She'll have to get some blades of her own
yeah.
if she's still alive.
Maybe that guy will hook her up. Who
Yeah.
knows? Who knows what happened? But to the untrained eye, it definitely seems like they all met their fates, and the big machine kept moving. There's a saying in Night City that there are no happy endings in Night City. So who knows? But I like your take, Higgins, because it gives me hope. Nadia is, again, my quote, resident badass. I love my resident badasses, and I wish them well. So
Oh, yeah.
overall, though, what'd you guys think of the read? Delightfully short, but a lot of content. So
Great. Yeah, I loved it. I mean, and it's really a great pick for the podcast because we finished it in one episode.
Oh, yeah. I love a one shot.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great.
I will say the shortness was a plus and a minus, like I was talking about earlier.
Mhm.
The art looks great for like something that's like one issue, which I realized that I looked at like Cullen Bunn and saw what else he did, and he's like a pretty big author in like the Deadpool universe, it seems
Yeah.
like. So
Yeah.
this kind of stuff, especially our like main like rescuee, like, that feels like it fits the thing, and maybe why he was so good at doing those action scenes with like blades and guns all mixed together.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a neat read.
Awesome.
I would have
Yeah.
liked about 10 more pages, just like I said. But other than that, it was a good time.
No, I agree. And like I said, I messaged Cullen Bunn. Please respond.
Yeah.
No, but I guess how many drinks do you guys give the book?
It kind of like worked out like perfect because I'm probably like, I don't know, about a third left of this one, and I think I was gonna say like about a 3.75 is what I felt like about it.
Okay, Jacob.
Yeah, I think
Just
I'm on my fourth. So, and that's about where I feel, 4 out of 5. I
Okay.
enjoyed it a lot. Not perfect, but it was a really good read.
Okay.
yeah, it definitely makes me want to at least watch the anime. I know myself enough as a person to know I'll never finish a campaign in Cyberpunk. If it happens to come on Game Pass, I'll play 5 hours of it and stop. But like, I probably won't ever spend the money because I bought The Witcher
Yeah.
3 a long time ago and never finished. So
And that's why I feel like I didn't need a whole long Cyberpunk book because there's like hours and hours of content out there from just between the game and the anime that yeah, just a short, quick story was just like perfect for me.
Yeah.
I do think it would be cool. I'm assuming there's a good other bit of comics that are like Cyberpunk 2077, all the different other like paths they could have taken us. I didn't do my research on that, but I'm assuming Trauma Team's one of many like one shots in that universe.
Yeah. So I actually have another cyberpunk book. It is not a comic or manga. It's actually like a book. So maybe later on, we'll do it. But I know Higgins, how you feel about books without pictures. So
I can do it. Snoop was the
that is true. You are the resident proofreader on the studio.
yeah, I can't do I'm not good at writing, but I can read a book and give my 2 cents.
Good. Okay. Well, then maybe I'll consider, recommending the other cyberpunk book that I have. It is longer. It doesn't have as many pictures. Obviously, the art style and the cover are generally the same, and it gives me the feeling that this cyberpunk 2077, the universe is a lot like what Star Wars was back then, where a lot of different authors could kind of pitch into the universe. I'm not exactly sure what like the rights or what rules you need to follow in order to write your own cyberpunk story, but I would imagine since this is relatively new that it is relatively open. People can, if you guys are interested in writing something, you guys can correct me, but I'm going to look into it. I mean, definitely, a good one shot, but like Jacob, you said, there's plenty of content out there.
There's a good like I'm just looking it up now. There's like a good 12-ish one-offs it looks like. There's
Yeah.
stuff for like Where's Johnny, Psycho Squad, Sword Folks, Edge Runners. I don't know what any of that means, but you guys probably do a little bit.
Well, you stopped at the right one, Edge Runners. That's the one that's really going to tug a few hearts.
Yeah, you got to watch the anime if you haven't seen it.
All right.
It's
I'll check it out.
I mean, I watch a decent amount of anime. It's definitely one of my favorites. The art and the story is just, I mean, it's amazing.
80%
I'll
of
check it out.
viewers, 80% of viewers reported that they cried like men.
Yeah, yeah. I don't cry a lot, but the ending was very sad.
Yeah.
All right.
So it sounds like overall, this book was a pass. Definitely a recommendation. I can't give a review. I mean, I still will. I thought it was great. So probably 4.5 out of 5 instead of a 4-ish.
You just
But
don't have to base yours off the drinks. That's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah, since I brought it in, I don't really weigh my review, but nevertheless, still a pass. And it seems like just about all of the other mediums are also a recommendation. If you haven't played the Cyberpunk game, play the Cyberpunk game. If you haven't watched Cyberpunk anime,
And if you played the game when it first came out, give it another shot. It is a lot better now.
that is
They fixed
very,
almost all the bugs.
yeah,
Yeah, here you can even play it on Switch now or
yeah,
something like that.
Wow.
If it's working on there, then on Switch too. It's coming out on there.
yeah.
So they're
If it,
porting it
if
to
it
the new
works
one.
there, it definitely works on the console. And if you
Yeah.
have PC, because PC's master race, then it definitely works there now. So yeah, if you played it at the beginning and you felt it all buggy, play it now. Definitely worth. And then to your, I guess, transitioning to your point about it being a quick read and being a boon. If you like the quick reads, just a little plug right here of our
One
debut
more time.
comic. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I guess that concludes the Cyberpunk 2077 review.
Ba-na-na-na, ba-na-na-na. Readings for squares.
There we go.
I mixed up the thing, but I kept true with my interrupting someone to announce it.
I knew you were gonna. I told Jacob last episode you were gonna kill me if I cut it out, and I love this section. So
I
I'm
just
glad
like
that.
talking about it a little extra. Maybe it's
Yeah,
still a little connected, but not too much.
yeah. No, but yeah, so for listeners, again, if you skipped over episode 1 or are just joining in without watching any of the Comixology Club or anything from before, this is the section post our review, because at this point we're nice and saucy to talk about anything else. And so
Oh yeah.
these next 10-15 minutes, you'll probably see really the extent of our reviews. But yeah, so Higgins, since you're the OG returning, what have you been up to aside from getting married?
I guess I've honestly been on a pretty big watching kick here lately.
Hmm.
Been taking a lot of stuff in. I just finished though the first season of Yellow Jackets.
Okay.
It was on Netflix. I don't know when I'll get to watch season 2 or 3 because that's on like Paramount Plus. But I figured I'd stick with like the trauma stuff.
That's sort of related.
It's like 19, like girls soccer team wins their like state championship, so they're flying somewhere to nationals, and their plane goes down in the wilderness. And so like you have this group of, it's probably about like 15 to 20 like teenage girls, plus or minus a few. Their like coach who, spoiler alerts, lost part of his leg, so he's just like hobbling around. And then the the ball boy and his younger brother. And so they're just out here trying to survive in the wilderness. And
Is this based on that real life event where they crashed in the snow?
I think it's just like only very loosely
Oh, okay.
connected, but like the obvious thing that I think most people know when they're going into this is, I haven't seen it yet, but you're basically like told pretty early on into the, or at least shown early on, that they're going to be eating some of these girl soccer players for some reason or
Yeah,
another.
gotcha.
There's there's a lot of stuff towards the end that I won't like talk about because like I feel like seeing it is crazy, but it has a kind of two stories going side by side with each other.
Mhm.
It's them crash landing into the wilderness. They can't be found. There's a bunch of different characters with a bunch of different personalities that don't mesh well together. That's one part of it. And then the second part of it is like you have what you know from the very beginning in this season. There's four of these girls from the plane crash, and it's like 30 years in the future. They're moms, they're politicians, they're in rehab, and they're getting blackmailed basically
Mhm.
because for years and years and years tried to stop people finding out what happened when they were out in the wilderness because the story is trapped out there for 18 months before they like came back to the real world. And so there's just a bunch of intrigue. And I'm telling you, one of the best like first seasons of a show I've watched in a long time.
Okay. All right.
It's a lot of
Something.
fun.
Yeah, something to look up. It kind of loosely gives me the vibes of like Lord of the Flies a little bit.
It's got that. It's got all the other sort of things where you're trapped in the wilderness. Maybe a little hatchet. Like they're like learning how to hunt.
Hatchet.
Yeah,
That's a deep pool right there.
Yeah.
deep pull. Everybody, at least everybody our age read it in middle school,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. Way to give us all numbers here. Everyone knows how
Yeah.
old we are now. No, that's awesome. I haven't been watching a lot of stuff, but I think I might go ahead and note that down for later.
No, what I want you guys to talk about is your Dungeons and Dragons campaign. What's the story behind that? You teased me earlier. I just want to know what the story is.
Well, Higgins, I don't know. Have you read the Spellbound Alliance book?
No, I haven't read that one. Is
All
it
right,
set
well,
in there?
this is a plug, yeah. So if you haven't read Spellbound Alliance by 008 Studios, by one of the collaborators, her name is Goodness Woke. It is definitely worth the buy. Available on all platforms digitally and Barnes and Noble for print. Anyway, it is based
I've
there.
been up my shelf though. I haven't started it yet. I got I kept getting pushed back on all my proofreading and like
Yeah.
other stuff.
So if you read that, you know exactly what the campaign environment is. It is based on that world. It is a very Witcher-esque environment. Jacob yesterday learned the hard way what that means. You basically, I've made it to. I'm DMing this session, this campaign. I made it to where it is very, very important that you gather as much information of the monsters that you are hunting before you encounter
okay,
them.
so straight up
Because
Witcher 3 stuff.
because if you don't, you will learn the hard way what they're capable of. And yesterday we had to kill off one of our characters, and Jacob and our other player, his name's Devin. They just thought, okay, well, yeah, she's gonna die, whatever. No, they almost everybody died because they didn't take it seriously.
Yeah, took it lightly, and yeah, we almost all died. Devin, the other player, was freaking out. Luckily, I pulled through in the end, but yeah, it was scary.
And this is how far, how many like sessions would you say? Like sub 10?
Bro,
Oh
this
yeah,
is our,
I think
our
sub 5.
dude, this
Sub
is this
5?
is like our second session.
So deep,
Almost
deep
died.
cuts, deep cuts.
Yeah.
Michael's
But it's cool
pulling no
because
punches.
I play normally the character I play is very like rush in and just deal with whatever comes up. But now I'm having to play a little bit of a slower character and kind of role play a little bit to figure out what we're up against.
Yeah, no, I had no mercy with this campaign. I told them what it was about. I told them the resources to read.
They just gotta get good. That's
Yes,
all.
get good. So if you know anything about me, I mean, this is my first time DMing a campaign. Maybe I'm pretty sure I'm making a lot of mistakes, but I'm very combat oriented. You read any of my books, my combat scenes are like the most detailed thing ever. So there you go, Jacob. Behind.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Good deal.
I don't like a lot of. I mean, I like role playing. It's fun, but I like the combat.
Yeah.
I think everybody like every now and again like a fun little party scene or something like that where you can roll something to like dance with the lovely lady. It's like that's fun every now and again, but I'm just
Yeah.
there to kill some ghosties or
Yeah.
some orcs or some
Yeah. Well, so
I don't know dire wolves or something.
to that end, yeah, we had a pretty funny interaction after that. Devin, his character is well, I can't say because Jacob doesn't know. So he has a fun little quirk that Jacob is having to deal with. He's learning along the way.
Okay,
But yeah, so I agree.
cool.
Every now and then
Maybe
those
we'll pick that back up once I know more.
yeah,
Yeah.
those character developments are important. But I did want, since you put me on the spot there, Higgins, what's yours about Pathfinder?
All right, so I jumped in three books into a 6 book like campaign that's already like pre-written. And so when I started, there was like a blood disease going around, and like Steph, my roommate, his character kamikaze like bombed like the main bad guy and took out like half their party, and that's when I jumped in.
Mm,
And so basically, there's an evil queen who is controlled by an evil dragon man back in the past, and we're in his castle now, and undead's everywhere. There's a guy, there's a real big bad boss that almost TPK'd us. And then we realized we had to kill 4 other mini bosses before we fought that boss. We just went in the wrong room first, basically. And so we're slowly, methodically working our way through a castle that's basically like it was perfectly made to kill our party when we got in there. And now we've maybe meta like jumped in and trying to take out the castle's called Scarwall. It's very fun.
I'm gonna have to start taking
I'm
notes.
really bad at it, but my character's name is Barkley Smithworks, and it's just a pun. He's like a dwarf with one hand, and his brother's name is Gnarls, and his parents' names are CeeLo and Green. So it's just a dumb Gnarls Barkley pun.
So wait a minute. Did his brother Gnarls gnarl his other hand off?
So Gnarls almost got his hand because they were blacksmiths, and they were initially blacksmiths, and his brother almost like got taken out by the forge or whatever, the anvil crusher thingy. And I pushed him out, lost my hand, and then became a cleric of like the luck god.
Oh, you're the
Because
one-handed brother.
I'm the one-handed
Okay,
brother.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. But because you can't blacksmith with one hand, so I became
Right.
a cleric.
Obviously.
with like the lowest charisma possible. It's a terrible build, but
Well, that one makes it a fun build too.
yeah. I don't meta anything when I make a character. I'm strictly flavor,
Gotcha.
so
It's a lot like
no
it's
min-maxing here.
no that's awesome. I would say that I would gather that from whenever you made the cocktails, because the flavors on some of those, I still recall the one you made for the Eternal Crown. That,
I can't even remember which one we did.
I don't remember the name, but I remember the taste.
Yeah.
Is that good or bad?
That's good. That's good.
Okay,
That's
okay.
cocktail. Yeah, these are great.
We only struck out on drinks like 3 or 4, probably like 4 or 5 times out of our 60 episodes. Most of them were good.
It's a good track record.
Yeah,
Pretty much
cough,
everything with mint and or melon was bad, but everything else was a good time.
yeah, cough. If you haven't watched Comicsology Club,
Yeah.
go a few episodes back. Well, since we bridge into D&D and Pathfinder a little bit, Jacob, why don't you tell us what you've been up to aside from the D&D campaign?
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's two things. First, since you brought up a show recommendation, I'd like to bring my own. If y'all haven't watched From, I think it's on Amazon. It is a very good show.
I really want to watch it. It's not on Amazon. It's on like MGM Plus or
Right,
something
yeah,
like
it is.
that.
I had to do the free trial and watch the whole thing in 7 days. But yeah, it's worth a watch. It is probably one of my favorite shows. It's so mysterious. It's horror, and if you watch the last episode, I brought kind of a horror thing. So I really am into horror, and yeah, I love that show. But the other thing I want to talk about is something me and Michael disagreed on, and I've been playing Oblivion lately with the remake, and I think Oblivion is better than Skyrim. And I don't know if have you played either games?
I've never played any of them, but my roommate Steph seems to think that he likes Oblivion more. It may just be fonder in his heart, but he's having a good time with it. And I've
Yeah.
watched him play.
Well, I grew up with Skyrim, and I still think Oblivion's a better game. And I know Michael disagrees.
I grew up with Oblivion, and I think Skyrim's a better game, especially
Played
now
the remake
that
though?
yes, I have played the remake.
Right.
And I still think Skyrim is the endless game, even with the DLCs, the different versions, and now that the modding community has taken hold of it, which I don't want to count that in my consideration, but it is 100% top in over Oblivion. Yeah, 100% Skyrim.
You got to count mods in those games. I think like those Bethesda games were like made to be like just
Modded.
flipped on their heads. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
The only thing I've seen about the Oblivion thing is like a guy turned his speed up to like 1,000%, and he's like literally jumping across the entire map.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of mods, but I think the combat in Oblivion is more fun. The whole combat system, you have to sleep to level up or whatever. I haven't finished Oblivion yet, but I've gotten maybe a quarter of the way in, and it's really fun. I mean, Skyrim will always have that place in my heart, but I'm really enjoying Oblivion right now.
I'm gonna let the honeymoon phase pass. Eventually, you will come back to Skyrim. And you will apologize for this blasphemy you're speaking.
Sometimes you just need a little less freedom, Michael. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Skyrim opens it up too much. Maybe I just want to shoot a couple baddies.
You know what?
I don't want to figure it out.
This is America. This is the land of freedom. This is what I stand for.
Something about going into Oblivion Gates and going to hell and killing demons there. It's like, I mean, that's fun. It's like playing Doom.
That's true.
I need to hop on that too. The new one.
The new Doom.
Oh, don't get me started on the new Doom. The new Doom has not lived up to my hype. I love Doom.
See, now you're disagreeing with Higgins.
You just want the Doom guy to be faster, and like maybe slow Doom's just good. I don't know. I haven't played it.
It's very rare that I agree with Higgins on games, because if you watch the episode where we had the Grand Wizard of the Game Academy here, Devin Willenfall, by the way, plug, watch his podcast too.
Right. Yeah.
If you watch the episode, you know that Higgins has trouble with games, but
I'm just not good at finishing them.
Yeah.
I feel you on that.
I get really distracted on stuff like Skyrim, where it's just like I want to go in every nook and cranny, and then I play for 5 hours, and it's like I just not getting anywhere in this game, so I'm just gonna go play another one. And it's purely my fault, but I know who I am as a person. I'm okay with it. What are we what are we and or just you guys? I don't know what our plan going forward is, but do we have a comic game book for the next episode
Well, that was going to be my question to you. I don't know.
for this guy?
Yeah, for you. So again, the way it works is we each pick a book per month.
Okay.
So if you're wanting to pick a book for the next month, you're free to do so. It's your turn.
I'm good. I'm good with that. I'll have to let me. I have a good couple stuff on the shelf. I was recommended one, and I'm not going to go too big. I got a couple of honker comics that I've been meaning to read, but I'm just going to clear off my shelf. That this one seems like it'd fit like both of your guys' vibes. It's called Headlopper. I'll have to see who it's by. Headlopper, and it is by. Just stand by.
Standing by.
Headlopper is a
Headlopper.
comic by Andrew MacLean.
Okay.
McLean, Maclean.
I just looked it up. For some reason, it feels like Adventure Time.
Well, kind of just off a very, very quick like passing by like Samurai Jack Adventure Time kind of combo mix. I don't know that there's very many words in it. I think it's very action forward, but that's
Okay.
just like I
Sounds
said,
good.
no actual like look into it. But it was also recommended by one of my good buddies, so
Okay.
I'll take his word for it. And it's been on my shelf for like it has to have been like 3 or 4 years at this point, so I just need to get it off the TBR.
Okay. Sounds good. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and start cleaning up here. But if you like this episode, go ahead, like, subscribe, and stand by because we're reading Headlopper next month. So sweeping up, I forgot the phrase that you actually use, Higgins. You sweep up. What was it? You clean up.
That's what we did. Yeah,
Sweep it up.
we
Okay.
swept stuff up.
Okay, so we're sweeping stuff up. You can find Higgins at.
Oh man, I'm just gonna avoid like X. I don't go on X anymore. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Instagram at jsturm93, and I guess that's where you can find me. I don't actually know what our email is anymore. I'm not the big boss right now.
Well, I got to talk to Aaron about that. I'm playing. I'll
Yeah.
get to that.
All right. Yeah, you do that one.
All right, Jacob, where can we find you?
Well, if you're looking for me, probably Instagram, jacob.courts. It's Cortez without the E. So jacob.courts. And yeah, it's probably the best place to find me as well.
Okay. I'm gonna put you on the spot, and I'm not gonna say where, but I expect to, hear a little bit more about that development channel that you're building.
Actually, yes, I would like to plug that. Can I code? I think it's Can I Code JS. Yeah, I have big plans for it. Hopefully, I do them. But yeah, if you want to look for YouTube videos focused on development, like game development, or just random development videos, go check that out. I have big plans for it. Hopefully, I will get to them.
Okay, awesome. And then as a closeout, Michael Lopez again, 008 Studios. If you have not checked out the studio shop, or if you've not checked out the studio website or the studio YouTube, or really just about any of the other platforms, the link will be provided in the description. I will provide the link for the Cyberpunk Drama Team. I'll provide the link for the Icarus Initiative Origins. I'll provide the link for Spellbound Alliance. I don't think I'm forgetting
I'll
anything
shoot you
else.
a link for Headlopper.
Headlopper. I'll see if I can put a link for the alcohol of choice for Cyberpunk so that you guys can sip while you're reading. And then if you guys have any inquiry,
There it is.
if you have any inquiry, you guys can contact us really at www.008studios.com. That's 0-8studios.com on purpose.
Is there an email on the site where they can just like? Is there a contact us page?
There is a contact us button, but that goes directly to my email, and I don't want to.
Nice, perfect.
Yeah, so
Just send an email straight to Michael.
well,
He'll get back to us.
So you need to subscribe first in order to use the buttons. That's the trick.
Perfect.
Otherwise, you can leave a comment on any podcast platform, and we'll get to you as soon as possible.
Yeah, leave a rating and review, right?
Yeah,
5-star. Only 5 stars. Apple
If you
Apple
don't
has
like it,
reviews.
just click off.
Click 5, and in the review say this podcast sucks ass. Just at least put 5 stars.
Yeah, that would really make me upset if you did that.
No, but please do it. Please do it. And yeah, I think that's really about it. I guess some clotheslining items. Some last line items. 008 Studios is still doing its charity run. So stand by for Dracon, which is the book of choice where we have a whole bunch of writers building one giant anthology about dragons. And then we have a few different segments upcoming for the YouTube channel. One of them is called Right and Wrong, and the other one is called The Mind is a Muscle. And I will talk to Jacob and see if he wants to join me. Higgins, are you still there or are you frozen?
I'm here.
Okay. I'll talk to you about
I'm just standing. I'm just sitting really still.
Yeah. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Again, you guys know where to find us. And as always, cheers, guys. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
Adios. Sure. Is it still going? It looks like it's still going on mine.